Hey guys, welcome back to my garden. So today I'm going to be walking around my backyard and probably my front yard just so I can get this over with. I've been really busy and I do want to keep accounting for what I'm doing in the garden and show the differences every month. So I really needed to get out here and do this today. But yeah, there's been quite a bit of changes in my backyard especially, so I want to document that and show you what's going on. So let me turn this around and off. So I'm just going to start out by saying that it has been raining here in Florida. I'm in Central Florida, Zone 9B, still a 9B. And we've had quite a bit of rain this winter time. So things are not as brown as they normally are during the winter. Actually, during the summer, things were more brown than they are now. So it's been kind of a crazy season, but we're just going with the flow. I have this area here. There's a lot of deciduous things that do turn brown. My beauty berries are in here. There's passion flower vine that is usually in here. There's goldenrod in here. And then this ground cover is all creeping sage. That is a native Florida ground cover, and it's looking better now than it was during the summer. And it's even blooming now in the winter time. So I don't know, I'm just kind of going with whatever nature is throwing at us this year. I will cut it back just before spring, and then hopefully with all this moisture, it does come back and fills in real nicely during the springtime. Let's see, over here, I have done this huge mulch project. I extended my walkway here. I'm redoing the beds here, and then all of that is mulch now. And I extended this bed over here. So I've seeded some things and I've planted a few grasses. Don't mind the hose because it's life and I haven't put that up. But I have my peach tree right there. It has a few little blossoms on it. And I'm going to be planting another tree right around there. Another fruit-bearing tree. I think I might do a second peach. I'm not sure. Maybe two different types of peaches. And then the rest of this is just getting filled in as I can. I put in my elderberry here. I actually cut it in two, but one there and one there. I'm giving it time to root in, and I'm going to cut it back and let it flush out from, a little bit lower than it is now. It's kind of got naked sticks, although there are growth points that I see on it that have green growth on them. So we'll see how that plays out in the spring. But this bed is starting here now, and instead of coming right there, it's coming around this way. So I planted some society garlic that I had in the front there. I have a lot of native wildflowers in the back. There's a lot of milkweed there, salvias of different kinds, and then I have native grasses kind of speckled all the way down. And I got a lot of those on sale for about half off. So some of them were like even $3. Like this muley grass was, I think, $3.50 or $4, and it was nothing wrong with it. It's just because it's winter time and things don't look as nice, so they discounted them. But if you have a keen eye and know how native plants go through their life cycle, you can snag a deal every now and then. So the mulch is the base layer. I just put some compost and some worm castings on part of the bed to kind of start extending the planting area. I've seeded some things, some wildflowers, and we'll see how they do. And if they don't, completely take over or thrive, it's because this mulch is brand new mulch and it hasn't broken down yet. So all the nitrogen is being used up, breaking the mulch down. But that's fine. That'll be something I tackle later on. It's just, I wanted to get some things seeded to see how they do. I have a mulberry tree right there. And then something I'm really starting to work on this year is adding the different color, what am I trying to say? So when you're doing garden design, I've read and I've seen in person how it's very important to have blues, greens, yellows, and reds all in the same area, and they really play well together. So I'm trying to incorporate more color diversity in my garden rather than just green, because even though things have flowers and they bloom all sorts of pretty colors, they look good together. When they're not in flower, it's important to have different colors and textures. So these are grasses that are more on the blue color, native Florida grasses, and then backed up to the green mulberry. And then I'll have, in my border of things that I seeded, there's things like chamomile and bachelor buttons and red mustard, and there's all sorts of different textures in there. So we'll see kind of how that goes. So this is a work in progress, just kind of going with the flow. I just was trying to bulk up this section here so it has more interest all the time. So right now it's still the middle of winter, so it's not going to look completely great because I'm still in the middle of marking the lines out. My peach tree, however, let me get out of the shadow, has started to bloom. So that's cool. And it even started to push new growth. So we'll see. It has not froze yet here in Central Florida, at my house anyway. So we'll see how it goes. There's some buds down there too. So I'm waiting to see how many buds I get on this year. We'll see. And then this mulch looks super thick, and that is intentional because it will break down in no time once it's warm and raining, because that's just what Florida does. Mulch doesn't stay like a thick layer of mulch for very long. Over here, these are my mullein seedlings. These are the ones I started in November, and they're huge. They're already, bigger than my hands. And so this is interesting because this soil here is probably the crappiest soil on my property. Where I've planted plants. So I haven't built up the soil as much in this side as I have like in the vegetable garden or in other places with compost. So this has very little compost, and these seedlings started growing way faster than the ones I put in the vegetable garden that have compost mixed in with the soil. So that was pretty interesting to see. So mullein is a medicinal plant, and there's some more there, and it is one that does really well in poor soil conditions. So that shows you right there that it actually is liking the more poor soil than the other one with the compost in it. These plants right here are bearded tongue. So it's a native penstemon is what that is. So I'm leaving those. This is just going to end up another, wildflower border. It's taken some time to kind of figure out what does well in this spot, so I'm just letting it kind of fill out as it wants. Now that I know the mullein is doing great there, I might add some more mullein seedlings in there, and maybe some of the marshmallow seedlings too. So we will see what happens as the season progresses. I have been just shoveling so much mulch, and it's just been taking so much time, but this little wagon that my dad gave me is a lifesaver, so I'm really enjoying that. Up on the porch, the green stalks have seen better days. I have basically stopped watering them. I don't know why. I just got busy and just stopped caring, I think. but I think they were way too root bound, and the amount of plants I had in these was bigger than the capacity could hold for the amount of plants I planted. So I'm gonna be redoing those. I think I'll do that in a video just to show how easy those are to plant. I wanted real quick to show this nasturtium. It's so big and pretty. So nasturtiums are edible, but they're pretty spicy tasting, kind of like arugula, but maybe even a little spicier. So I typically just let it, sorry, let me fix this. I just let it flower and look pretty. That is a bird bouquet that I made. I cut down some native grass stalks and some flower stalks from the front yard, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I made a little bouquet out of it. But that nasturtium is no joke. It's loving its life right there. Let's see. There's not really anything else on this porch to look at. Everything over here. Oh, here is my lettuce that's still going strong that I feed the bunny. So under my fig tree. Everything is still pretty deciduous and without leaves over here. I'm still waiting on the witch hazel tree to come to life in the corner there. My oak leaf hydrangeas, they should do well in the spring. They should, really bulk out because there's lots of buds happening on these, or maybe not buds, but growth points, as I should say. This section is looking basically the same, except my Meyer lemon tree is blooming. So it's in the end of January and it's blooming. Oh, and this is what it does. The little buds, or they bloom, and then the little fruits just fall right off. And it probably has to do with the fact that there's not that many pollinators out this time of year. So I'm really hoping it gets, pollinated enough. I'm assuming that's why. I don't know what. I cannot figure it out. Every year it blooms this time of year, and then all the blooms and all the tiny fruit fall off. But it's gorgeous when it blooms. We'll see. I have my cranberry hibiscus still in the end of January is blooming, which is very strange and has never happened that I've noticed. I don't know if this video is dark or not. But yeah, it's still blooming, so I'm leaving it up. The one in the front yard was kind of fallen over. The fire bush is starting to get new growth on it. And then they're not native, but I planted daffodils all in this area. And then there's calendula and some crimson clover as a cover crop over top of them. So we'll see how the daffodils do. They're a pretty yellow and orangey color, so in the spring that'll look nice. The cover crop didn't take as much as I wanted to, so I might just come and do a light layer of leaf mulch and just call that a day. Not much else going on. Everything's looking the same. My mulch pile is at least getting a little smaller. I've got a ton of potatoes growing in my compost. My leaf bin is filling up for the fall season. Well, it's winter now. Then we'll go out to the front yard. So out here I have one of my favorites for this time of year, blooming and giving all of the nectar to the bees, is this viburnum, and it smells really sweet, and it's always in bloom this time of year. It's a little cooler today, so the bees aren't out as much, but they have been on it like crazy. And then there's that one, and there's one on the other side of the house. I have my Everglades tomato plant. This thing is going wild, but it's been giving me tomatoes. And then I have garlic planted around the edge. And I think my husband just mowed it over with baseballs. Thanks a lot. Anyways, and then I have a rose down here. So the rose is doing well. It's actually got some buds on it. I was hoping the tomato kind of helped protect it from the animals. And I think I was right, because the animals stopped munching on it, as well as the garlic border there as well. So in the spring, hopefully that rose will get nice and large. Over here, let's see, I planted some more mullein. Why are there plastic bags? I found like 2 plastic bags just in my yard. I'll get it in a minute. I planted some more mullein to see how it does up here. This is a pretty dry area of my garden. Also, more poor soil than a lot of it. I've redone a lot of this up here, added, more mulch, and I've added some new plants up here. And of course the bunnies are eating them. So I planted 3 liatris. Yep, that one was completely full 2 days ago, and rabbits are eating them. So I'm going to have to put some rabbit repellent down. Luckily, liatris, it can be working on its roots right now. It's not going to bloom until next late summer or fall. But the blue-eyed grass that I planted is getting mowed down as well. There's blue-eyed grass all over this area, and that should be blooming in the spring, and I don't want the bunnies to keep eating it. It's so frustrating. But this whole area is covered in native ground covers, blue-eyed grass, and frog fruit. There's sunshine mimosa and lyre leaf sage, and it all should look pretty if I can get the bunnies to stop eating it. But yeah, so everything here is native. I have some lopsided Indian grass, some piney woods drop seed, there's beautyberry, and I forgot the name of you, Simpson stopper. There's some more piney wood drop seed, and then look, all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the blue-eyed grass that I just planted have been eaten by the bunnies. So there's really nothing I can do out here. They just come and go. I have cut down all of the goldenrod up here, so kind of just a blank slate on this side of the driveway. Over here, nothing else really has changed. Everything is staying nice and green because of the weather. The only difference here is that my Carolina jasmine is going to bloom for the first time. This is a 2-year-old plant now, so it's got little buds, and I think right here is the only place I've noticed them, but it had, oh yeah, no, there's some more. So it's going to bloom. That's pretty exciting, because my goal for this bed was to have something blooming almost all year long. So I have the Carolina jasmine, I have beautyberries, I have goldenrod, there's honeysuckle, corky stem passion vine, lyre leaf sage, there's porterweed, there's coneflower in here, there's different grasses in here. So something is always going on in this bed, so I'm glad that it started to bloom. Let's see. Oh, look. The chocolate flower, or the Florida green eyes. One popped up over here from a volunteer, and it looks like I have a flower, so that's exciting. I cut down all of the black-eyed Susan seed heads, and then the goldenrod. We had someone coming out to look at the house, so I wanted to just clean everything up. The blue-eyed grass over here has also been getting eaten. Ah, these darn rabbits. Alright, I'm going to buy some rabbit repellent and see. Oh no, they're eating everything. My goodness. Alright, revenge on the rabbits. The wild rabbits, not my baby bunny. Anyways, so there's not much to see here. It's pretty much a blank flower bed because it's getting eaten completely and nothing's blooming. I have my Flatwoods plum, still deciduous, nothing to look at there. Right here I have a pot of wildflowers. I just scattered some wildflower mix in there and I think it looks pretty, so we'll see what blooms. I might have to thin it out. It's pretty dense. Over here I have my carrot patch and red mustard. I almost forgot what it was. So that's the red mustard color and the carrots next to it. I don't know what it is. Everything seems a little smaller in this bed again. I can't quite get the soil right in this bed. I think it's because it's so new and I'm adding so many amendments, so maybe it's just taking time to break things down. I don't know, but either way, things are working. It also is cooler right now, so things are not growing as aggressively. But I do still have carrots blooming in this bed, so that's pretty cool. So I'm going to have self-seeded carrots right here for a long time. That whole hedge is the viburnum. And then over here I did a little clean out. I have the native endemic to Florida, actually endemic to only 4 counties in Florida, the Cooley's water willow. So that's staying, you know, pretty green, and I see some self-seeded ones coming in. And then this is my columbine. So that is still, you know, looking good. It should bloom in the spring. There's 2 of them here. And then there's just some other ground covers. My oak leaf hydrangea is doing well. It's deciduous, so in the spring it should all come back. I have another beautyberry plant, some porterweed, and hopefully some self-seeded black-eyed Susans or some tick seed coming back up, because there was a lot of it in here. I'm not sure if it will or not. Oh, here's some of it. So good. So some of it will come. There's a little bit. Thank God, because I was getting worried. There was a lot of plants right there. And then the last but not least, I have the coral honeysuckle in my jasmine plant there. This is Confederate jasmine. It's not a native, but I love it so much that I will never not have that, I don't think. But yeah, so that is my garden in January, the end of January. So we're getting closer to spring. I have lots of things planned and ready. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what it brings. So as always, thank you for watching. I don't know how many people actually enjoy or watch all the way to the end of these videos, but if you do, I thank you. And I'll keep making them basically as my video journal for the year, and we'll just see how it goes. So thanks for everyone who watched last year, and now I have 500 subscribers on YouTube, which seems kind of silly, but it is what it is. So some people like watching my videos, and if you do, thank you, and I will see you in the next one.